The Committee on Rules hereby convenes this meeting. Good morning. For the record, today is March 16th and the time is now 9:34 Chamorro Standard Time. First notice for this meeting was sent to all media outlets Wednesday, March 8th, 2023 and posted on the Government of Guam Public Notices portal that same day. An amended first notice was sent on Thursday, March 9, 2023. A second notice was sent to all media outlets Tuesday, March 14, 2023 and posted on the Government of Guam Public Notices portal that same day. Rules of engagement: the chair will recognize a member who raises their hand to make a motion. The chair will rule a member out of order if they have not been recognized by the chair. The chair will abide by the Mason's Manual of Legislative Procedure. The chair also notes that a second motion is not required. The chair will note that the standing rules does not recognize a potential items listing upon a motion carried by the affirmative vote of 7 members. Will items be considered? The Court Director, Mr. Quinn Tidegui, will now call the roll of members. Mr. Quinn?
Chairperson, Senator Barnett.
Present.
Vice Chairperson, Senator Perez. Speaker Terlahi. Vice Speaker Munya Barnes. Legislative Secretary, Senator Shelton. Senator Parkinson. Senator Kanata. Senator San Augustine. Senator Sinicolas. Senator Brown. Senator Duenas. Senator Fisher. Senator Tidegui. Mr. Chair, there is a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Director. If members are not present, the chair will recognize the vice chair on the motion to excuse members not present. Are there any objections? No? Okay. Colleagues, the core meeting minutes can be found on the... Yes, ma'am? Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
No objections, Mr. Chair, but however, do we have notification by the standing rules? It states that any senator who is off island or leave provide notification. Those who are absent, I have no problem, excusing. However, if they have not provided any kind of leave form, so I'm requesting the original notice as stipulated in standing rules that are required. Have those who are not here today provided any such notification?
I did receive one notice from the legislative secretary that she was off island.
That's the only one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I received one from the vice speaker as well.
Okay.
Yesterday, or maybe the day before. I can't remember.
Do these notifications go directly to the speaker, just for our future reference? Do they go directly to the speaker
pretty sure
or
they
to
go
the
to
Committee
both.
on Rules?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Senator Tello, so my Committee on Rules email is not set up on my phone, but when I get back up to the office, I'll check, and I'm pretty sure if Speaker got an off-island notice from Vice Speaker, that I probably was CC'd on that as well, but my apologies, I don't have access to my core email on the phone.
Okay. Okay, so soon, right? Yeah. Okay, just wanted to verify, and those who are not here today, other than that. Okay.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to clarify. We don't have leave as senators, correct?
No, just to notify that they are off island or are not unable to make it because due to leave. Yeah, that's in the standing rules.
Okay. Yeah, notice, but there's we don't have leave. We don't accrue leave
We
as
don't
senators.
even procure sick leave either.
Yeah.
Either or. That's something maybe we can consider.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a notification of your absence is what's required by standing rules. Thank you.
Vice Chair, do I hear a motion to excuse members not present?
Yes, so I move to excuse members not present.
Second.
Thank you. Colleagues, the core meeting minutes can be found on the Google Drive. Any objections? No? We're good?
I second the motion?
Yeah.
Oh, a motion to accept the, are you making motions to accept the minutes?
I was, yes.
Oh.
Thank you.
Because I'd like to second that motion of a 20-page minutes report. I'd like to second that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I'd just
sir.
like to make sure that as we accept the minutes, subject to any administrative corrections.
Sure.
Okay, that's all.
Thank you, sir.
Good call.
On the motion to approve core meeting minutes, okay, we're done with that. Okay. We'll now move on to item number 4 on the core agenda, document tracking. I'm going to recognize the Vice Chair, Senator Perez, to give the Legislative Secretary a report on document tracking that was prepared by our Legislative Secretary, Senator Shelton. And again, colleagues, these documents are available in the Google Core Meeting Drive dated today's date, March 16, 2023. Senator Paris.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. The Legislative Secretary report to date are as follows. There are 7 appointments submitted by the Governor, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero to date. 1 appointment was confirmed during the March 3rd session. Of the remaining 6 appointments, there are pending confirmations, 0 withdrawals, and 0 have extended beyond the authorized 90-day limit. There is 1 rule and regulations request at this time. And let me just double check the zone changes. I believe there wasn't anything on the list as of today. There is 1 zone change request at this time. And that concludes the Secretary's report.
Thank you, Senator Paris. If we could now move on to the next item on the agenda, sub-item B, ratification of referral. Re-referrals, colleagues, these documents again are found on the Google Drive, labeled 04B legislative item logs. Does the chair hear a motion to ratify the referral of bills number 53 through 30 or 53-37 core through 72-37 core, 73-37 LS through 77-37 LS, 78-37 core, and 79-37 core?
Yes, so moved.
On that motion,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, I'd just like to, give me 1 second. I'd just like to note for the record, so bill number 23-37 COR, it was referred to Senator San Augustine's Committee Appropriations on January 31, 2023. It was re-referred by that Committee on Appropriations to the Committee on Health, Land, Justice, and Culture yesterday. And I just want to note this for the record. So the re-referral, according to our standing rules, is after a determination is made as to whether the bill, if the funding source is sufficient. And if the funding source is not sufficient, the appropriation authorization for appropriations or tax benefit bills shall remain in the Committee on Appropriations, and the primary sponsor of the measure and the chairperson of the Committee on Rules shall be notified in writing of such determination. So we've received the bill now, and I want to thank the Committee of Appropriations for forwarding it, but I want to read, just for the record, just for those who are listening, wondering the status of this bill. This is the Land Bank bill. That's why I'm bringing it. This is the Land Bank bill. And so the OFB's findings is that based on the Bureau of Budget and Management Research's Consolidated Revenue Expenditure Report as of January 31, 2023, the revenue collection of the general fund is tracking $43 million above its adopted level. It should be noted that there are other introduced bills that use the same source of funding, including Bill 24-37 COR for $16 million for the implementation of Adjusted General Pay Plan, and Bill number 32-37 COR for $30 million for Guam Department of Education's repair and maintenance of school infrastructure. The total sum of these appropriations, including Bill number 2337, the Land Bank bill, exceeds the FY 2023 General Fund excess of adopted level. It also should be noted that the excess revenue cannot be certified, and it can possibly be adjusted pending the FY 23 Government of Guam financial audit, which is anticipated to be released in May or June 2024. That's a quote from the OFB's finding. So I'm going to go forward. We've set a hearing for this. However, yeah, I'm not sure if these other bills, it's clear if the other bills pass before this one does, that the funding is not sufficient according to this note. So we're going to have to play that by ear as we go along.
Okay. So does the chair hear a motion to ratify the referral of bills number 53-37 core through 72-37 core, 73-37?
So move.
Yes, sir.
So move.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Does the chair hear a motion to ratify the referrals of resolutions number 29-37 core and 30-37 core?
So moved.
Okay. Motion passes. Does the chair hear a motion to ratify the referrals of appointments?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Motion passes. Where are we here? Placement. Oh, colleagues, documents were on placement of commendatory, congratulatory, or condolences on the consent calendar. Colleagues, these documents can be found again in the Google Drive. Pursuant to Rule 7, Section 704A, the Chair would like to note the following resolution numbers: 23-37 Core, 27-37 Core, 28-37 Core, 31-37 Core through 33-37 Core, 35-37 Core, 39-37 Core, 41-37 Core, 42-37 LS through 46-37 LS, 49-37 LS, 51-37 Core, and 53-37 Core have been placed on the consent calendar.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Committees on Rules Resolutions. Colleagues, these documents again found in the Google Drive folder labeled 04D, Committee on Rules Resolutions. The first Committee on Rules resolution is a resolution number 37-37 Core, which is relative again to adopting the budgetary allocations of Mina'trentai, Siette, Liheslaturan, Guåhan for fiscal year 2023. And we'll open it up for discussion or motions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like the Core to pass out Resolution 3737. There's some amendments that are needed just to ensure accuracy. So we could just, as well as the resolutions, yeah. As well as amendments.
Sure, that's fine with me. Absolutely. Okay. Next item is resolution of 54-37 Core, which is relative to authorizing the Legislative Council or other retained counsel to file an amicus curiae brief before the Supreme Court of Guam, affirming the Guam Legislature's position relative to its authority to enact legislation. And then I'll open it up for discussion. Senator San Augustine, you're recognized.
The resolution is basically is allowing us to hire an attorney, right?
Yes, sir.
Because the standing rules dictate that our current legal is only for us in-house, it's not for anything else. So with that, I move that we support it, and that, but specifically, I think, as I spoke to my colleagues, that before the, I guess the brief is given, that we know where that brief is going, so we can come to an agreement of that we agree with how the brief is being presented.
Yeah, there will be according to the res, there will be a 48-hour window for us to review the brief.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we stay on track so we don't miss out on that 48 hours, that all of us were able to attend so we can get it cleared real quick.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Tello-Taitagui, are you good?
I lost my train of thought. Listening to you, I lost my train of thought. I was like,
Senator Duenas?
yes, I do.
Oh,
I do.
Senator Taitagui, sorry.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Now I remember.
Got the train back?
Yeah, I got the train. It's rolling again. It says here that we're giving the authority to hire an attorney for this particular situation. However, nothing here stops us from hiring our current attorney on a different contract. Just wanted to make that clear, so we can have our same attorney that we have for legal in the legislature also be contracted to do this one particular brief. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Duenas?
Mr. Chairman, and along the lines of Senator San Augustine, I just wanted to reiterate that I believe that on the adoption of this resolution, and it's on the I want to put it on the record that we, in the upcoming session, review the contents of the brief so that the entire body can understand what the contents of the brief are, and that it's in concert with what the members want to be presented before the courts.
Yeah. Senator Brown?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to ask for clarification with Senator Duenas. Is this something the body is going to not just review but vote on? I just want a clarification with regards to that. It's going to be put in a resolution, or?
I think that if it's going to be before the body on the floor, I think that should be the correct
Well, it's the only way we
motion.
can act, right?
Yeah.
It's either a bill or a resolution.
This is a substantive matter to members of the Corps at this point. that's going to be presented on the behalf of the legislature, which I think when anything of substance is going to be presented on behalf of the legislature, it should get the consensus, majority consensus of the body. This is a very dynamic subject. And we, as a body, I believe, we're not speaking through law on this. This is not a deliberated bill on a matter of law. It's a matter of us responding to the court's invitation. So any subject matter that's presented outside of our powers that may have a bend one way or the other on the subject matter, I think, in my humble opinion, would be out of line. And so I think it's important for this body to see the content of our presentation before the courts, that we supposedly are answering a direct question that's been put forward to us. And our answer, I believe, should be a subject matter to which all the members are in concert with, or at least a majority of the members, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Dueñas.
Mr. Chair, can I
yes,
further
Senator
ask?
Brown? Good morning.
Good morning. Would this be done in a reasonable timeline to meet whatever the court requirement of when we have to file?
Well,
when do we have to
the
file?
brief has to be filed by March 31st.
Okay. Would we be able to go into a special session just to address this issue?
I'd just first like to say that, you know, according to the standing rules, and I get where you're coming from, Senator Dueñas, but I'll just cite it right here. Section 205(1), or Section 704C, Committee on Rules Resolutions, Committee on Rules Resolutions regarding the business of the legislature, including but not limited to the administration and operation of Liheslaturan Guåhan, amendments to these standing rules, litigation involving Liheslaturan, etc., shall be adopted by the affirmative vote of 7 of the members of the Committee on Rules at a committee meeting, and shall be certified by the Speaker and the Chairperson of the Committee on Rules and attested by the Legislative Secretary, and shall be exempt from further transmittal. Rules resolutions shall not be subject to the public hearing requirement under 2 GCA. Rules resolutions shall be transmitted to all members upon adoption. So I get where you're coming from, but I feel like we've vetted this with the standing rules, and that's where we are.
So, Mr. Chairman, what you're asking us to do in response to a court's invitation that a matter before the court currently under the governor's request for a declaratory judgment, whereby this legislature will be speaking through its legal counsel, and there is no review by the body to have consensus on that amicus brief to be filed?
Senator, I would say with the resolution, if you read it, provides a 48-hour window for you to review the brief.
Well, I can review the brief, Mr.
Right.
Chairman, but what happens if I don't agree with the brief?
You tell me, and I'll take it to the council or the attorney that we hire.
So
But I feel like within this process for hiring this attorney, we're well within the standing rules. I mean, I've vetted every standing rule up, down, and sideways, and I think this process is
Mr.
going to
Chairman,
hold.
with all due respect, I am not debating the resolution or the standing rules. I am asking for an on-the-record clarification as to the approval of the contents of the brief to be filed. You're saying within 48 hours. So this is all for purposes of putting this on the record. Within 48 hours, that 48 hours will be a window prior to our legal counsel presenting on behalf of this august body before the courts, so that objections, if they're appropriate, can be filed. And then then I would imagine you would have to call another core meeting then to get a majority vote if there's an objection.
So you want us to air out our legal strategy on the session floor?
If I could speak.
Speaker
yeah.
Terlahi, you're
If you don't
recognized.
mind, Senator?
I don't mind, Madam
Yeah,
Speaker.
my understanding is that the court doesn't give us many questions. They gave us, the governor's, 3 questions and invited us to answer only 2 of those, 2 or 3. And the resolution's very specific that we're going to answer number 2, which is, does the legislature have the power Whether the Organic Act of Guam, as it existed in 1990, authorized the Guam legislature to pass an unconstitutional law, or the Guam legislature acted ultra vires in passing Public Law 20-134. So I think council who's handling this knows exactly that we are asserting we have the power. We have power to pass laws. I mean, it says it in here someplace that that is what we're going to assert. So I don't think they can depart very far from that, and they can't answer any other question that's not presented to them, or, you know, that wouldn't be good representation either. And I think the 48-hour review is very generous in light of the fact that we've actually missed the original deadline, which was March 17. So our council asked for an extension from the Supreme Court and got one to file a brief by March 31st. The other parties, or not parties, but the other amicus briefs, some of them have already been filed by that March 17th deadline. So I just don't want to tie up council who we are hiring late to meet a March 31 deadline. And if they're going to let us review the brief, I think, yeah, any concerns that you have, they should be able to listen to and to address, and very clearly cannot exceed the question that we are authorizing them to answer. So I'm not
So, Madam Chair, I think you've just answered the chairman's question. We are not giving up a legal strategy here. We are, as a deliberative body.
No, but if we read the brief, if we debate what they're going to put in a brief, that is not a policy, that is a legal brief. It's just a matter of case law, statutory interpretation, and that's what they're going to put into their brief. They're not going to create new policy for us.
So, Madam Speaker, are you saying then...
Or for the people of Guam.
Madam Speaker, are you saying then if perhaps, for some reason, the legal counsel that was hired said no, we didn't have the power to pass that law, that would be a true representation of this body?
Senator, I'm pretty sure that if our chairperson hired a counsel that said that, he would fire him or her. I don't know why we would hire a counsel that would do that.
We're taking this on good faith, and I think as
no,
a
I think we're taking
body,
it as we've taken all of the other litigation that the legislature or any large party like this has to enter into. We have to designate somebody to act on our behalf, and he's allowed all of us to have review over this brief within 48 hours and to give counsel suggestions as to how to improve it within 48 hours. I think that actually, I've never seen that done. Normally, they designate and they trust that we all are on the same page. We want to assert the legislature has this power to pass laws. Otherwise, we are going to lose this case, and that means, you know, again, that the legislature's powers are really the ones that are being questioned here.
Madam Chair, it doesn't sound like we're arguing here.
I'm not arguing, I'm just saying, I think we can trust that, of course, we're going to get the result we want.
I think we can trust but verify.
We are verifying.
But what I'm trying to say is, when we verify that 48-hour window as to what the brief is, if there's a disagreement on that, we have to act on it as a deliberative body. You're saying we got to take it on trust that our legal counsel will go in and assert our power and our authority. What if they don't?
It's not trust. It's ethics. They represent us. We are hiring them, so they have to do what the client wants. And really, the only trust of the matter is whether we're going to review and give them our suggestions. If we can make the brief better, I can't see how I'm going to make that brief better, but if I could make the brief better, I'm not the one doing the research. But of course, we can all make suggestions to that. And they're bound by ethics, but I'm not going to argue that. To me, I've seen all litigation handled this way, that when we hire a lawyer and we tell them this is your job, these are the issues, this is our side, this is what we want you to do, that's what they have to do. And that we are getting a review of the brief before it's filed. What we don't want is for example, if I'm the lawyer and I'm writing the brief, I don't want all of you to review my brief and then go tell the other side what I'm writing in my brief. That's how we lose cases. That's how, I don't know, you know, that's defeating your own strategy. We just have to do this the way all legal issues are handled. You have an opportunity to discuss that with the council.
Yeah, based on the sensitivity of this, I'll close with this, Mr. Chairman, if you would allow me. This has been a dialogue that you've allowed to happen. Due to the sensitive nature of this filing, this is not like any other filing most of the time.
What's sensitive about it? We're defending our power to create and pass laws.
We're talking
and
about
either you support it or you don't.
We're talking about an issue of abortion.
We're
Mr.
not
Chairman.
talking about abortion.
Yes, we
Senator
are.
Duenas, we're talking about our ability to create and pass laws. Now, either you support it or you
But the
don't.
law itself deals with that subject matter, Mr. Chairman.
We're merely defending our ability to create and pass laws,
I'm
they
just
are
really
good
getting
laws,
an
bad laws, whether you
uncomfortable
like them or
feeling
you don't.
on a resistance to having the ability of this body to review a brief on this very
You're
sensitive
going to have an
matter
opportunity to review the brief for 48 hours.
and then vote on it if there's any dissension with regard to what the brief contains.
We're well vetted in the standing rules. I feel like the resolution, like I said, stands upside down, sideways. It's
I'll
well
defer to
within the
other
process.
members, but I'm going to register an objection then.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Brown,
I
you're
just want to
recognized.
clarify again, just so that we understand because of the process. I just want to make sure, obviously, as we all do, that we have transparency, and certainly I recognize the concern that Senator Duenas has raised. Specifically, we are going to hire an attorney to answer a specific question. The Speaker had mentioned that it had to do with our authorities. Yes. So no matter what the subject is, be it abortion, pro-life, pro-choice, any other issue, that's not being responded to by the attorney. It's specifically our authority as a legislative body to pass legislation. Is that indeed the case? Is that the specific question that the attorney is going to answer?
We're answering question number 2, and that's relative to our powers to create and pass laws.
So that is the only
We're not wading
focus,
into the
not
abortion,
anything
not at
beyond
all.
that.
No.
Okay, I just wanted clarification because certainly I think we all recognize the importance of asserting our authority, as elected members of the body to represent our people with regards to the passage of policy. So I just want to make sure that that's clarified so that we all have a comfort level in understanding that that is the question. It's not the question of pro-life or pro-choice. It's specifically the legal authorities of the legislature essentially to exist and operate.
That's it, Pensett.
Okay.
Senator Tydegui, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, after reading the resolution and feeling comfortable with the fact that we do have that opportunity to review the attorney's brief within the 48 hours. And, personally, I've had the opportunity to talk to you, and I believe that you are a man of your word, that if there's anything such that would, implicate any of these things, pro-life or wanting to kill a baby in a mother's womb, then, that would not be in the brief. So I appreciate you sticking to your word on that, and I'm going to hold you to it too.
Thank you. Thank you for
Mr.
that
Chair.
respect, Senator Tydegui.
With the clarification,
Senator Duenas, do you want to be recognized?
I do want to be recognized,
Okay, you're
Mr. Chairman.
recognized.
And yes, I can make some Pensett for you too. Mr. Chairman, in light of my colleague's comfort level, I've made a decision to withdraw my objection, and what I will do is, with the 48-hour window to review the brief, if I see something in there that I think is contrary to what this body should be putting forward, I will raise that to you directly and through all media channels and other channels and call for a vote on that motion on the preparation of the filing after having a review. Thank you for this dialogue on this matter.
Thank you, Senator Duenas. Appreciate that.
Pensett with clemency.
Yeah. So, do I hear a motion to approve this resolution?
The motion is to approve.
Thank you, Senator. We don't require a second. Any objections? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you. Now let's get back to resolution 37-37. Senator Perez.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'd like to proffer an amendment to the resolution, and the resolution, the amendment would basically allocate $10,000 from the central budget to the Committee on Ethics and Standards. So if you look on your copies, sorry, this is the resolution 37-37. And if you look on page 2, So page 2, line 23. So the current central office budget is $1,743,567.20. And so what this amendment would do would take 10,000 from that and allocate it to the Committee on Ethics.
I only have a question on that.
Yes, sir. Senator San Augustine, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Only because we discussed it earlier, maybe not on the air, but the money's already there.
Yes.
We want to commit that money, even though currently at this point, or probably we won't be hiring one, and then that what happens to the 10,000?
I guess it
At
rolls
the end.
over. It's kind of there as a placeholder, sir.
Okay, then I have no problem. So if we need it, then
Yes,
it's there.
it's there.
I'm only concerned is that we allocate 10,000, but it's later determined that we need more. I'm only concerned that maybe somewhere here it says that the Committee on Rules will ensure within their budget, they will ensure adequate funding is available for the Ethics Committee. So it's not just 10,000, it could be more,
Yeah.
it could be less.
Yeah.
I just don't, but I have no problem, I have no objection.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to ask that question.
It's just that, I know we've already stood up our ethics and standards committees, and so if we were to receive a complaint today, we wouldn't have an attorney, so that's why the.
Okay, but I have no objection, I'm good with this, thank you.
So,
All right, thank you. So I appreciate the support by my colleagues. So that would mean we would have to make that technical correction of $10,000 less from the central budget, which would be $1,733,567. Sorry, $1,733,567.20. So it's basically $10,000 less. There's also one other technical correction on page 2, line 21. And it's easy to miss, so it's, let's see, page 2, line 21. So on subsection C, it says 8 standing committees. It says 7 standing committees. So there was just a technical correction.
yeah.
8 is there, but the number and the word, the spelling of the word.
Thank you for that.
So,
So are these all together or separate?
together. So yeah, just if we can allow legal to make those technical corrections. So I ask, so thank you for your support. So I guess I made the amendment.
On the motion? Second. Any objections? Motion passes. All right, session agenda. We're now going to move to items cleared for consideration of the session agenda. Committee reports for the following items have been duly filed with the Committee on Rules. Co-Chair, colleagues, I'd like to note the following committee reports have been filed with the Committee on Rules and are available on our legislative website. Yes. Oh, sorry. Dispensa, we're going to call to adopt both resolutions. Any objections? I felt like we did, yeah. We did, yeah, we're good. Oh, just the amendments we approved. Okay, so yes, call to adopt both resolutions. Any objections? No, thank you. Motion carries. So back to bills cleared for session agenda consideration. Number 1, bill number 24-37 core is amended by the Committee on General Government Operations and Appropriations, introduced by the Committee on Rules by request of the Magahagan Guåhan, the Governor of Guam, in accordance with the Organic Act of Guam, which is an act to amend Section 2 of Chapter 1 and Section 2 of Part 1, Chapter 3, and to add new Sections 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 to Chapter 11, all of Public Law 36-107, General Appropriations Act of 2023, relative to appropriating $23,365,304 for the implementation of the Adjusted General Pay Plan. Number 2, bill number 2737 core is amended by the Committee on Human Resources, Hagatna Revitalization, Regional Affairs, Public Libraries, Telecommunications, Technology, and Federal and Foreign Affairs, introduced by Vice Speaker Tina Rose Muñoz Barnes, which is an act to add a new subsection M to Section 8501, Article 5, Chapter 8, Title 4, GCA, and to amend subsection 8503C of Article 5, Chapter 8, Title 4, Guam Code annotated relative to the retirement of public safety and law enforcement officers who are members of the defined benefit 1.75 retirement system. Bill number 3737, number 3, core, introduced by Senator William A. Parkinson, Senator Roy Anthony Benavente Canata, Vice Speaker Tina Rose Munoz Barnes, Senator Joe San Augustine, Senator Frank Blas, Senator Chris Duenas, Speaker Therese Terlahi, Senator Sabina Flores Perez, Senator Tello Taitagui, Senator Dwayne San Nicolas, Senator Chris Barnett, Senator Jesse Lujan, and Senator Joanne Brown, which is an act to name Public Law 36-130, the Senator Jose Pito Terlahi Retirement Act. Number 4, Bill number 46-37, core, as amended by the Committee on Environment, Revenue and Taxation, Labor, Procurement, Statistics, Research, and Planning, introduced by Senator Sabina Flores Perez and Senator Chris Barnett, which is an act to add a new subsection 5425.2 to Part A of Article 9, Chapter 5 of Title 5, Guam Code annotated, relative to providing temporary expedited procurement protest procedures for acquisitions funded with American Rescue Plan Act, Education Stabilization Fund, or Head Start grant monies allotted to the Guam Department of Education. 2, resolutions cleared for session agenda consideration. Resolution number 14-37, core, introduced by Senator William A. Parkinson, which is relative to requesting Imagahagan Guåhan to exercise her authority, Public Law 110-229, to petition the United States Department of Homeland Security to expand the Guam Visa Waiver Program to include the country of the Philippines, Mabuhay. Number 2, resolution number 21-37, core, introduced by Vice Speaker Tina Rose Munoz Barnes, Senator Roy Anthony Benavente Canata, Senator William A. Parkinson, Senator Joe San Augustine, Senator Jesse A. Lujan, Senator Dwayne San Nicolas, Senator Frank Blas Jr., which is relative to expressing the support of H.R. 256, introduced in the United States House of Representatives, which seeks to extend coverage of the Supplemental Security Income SSI program to qualified individuals who reside on Puerto Rico, the United States Virgin Islands, Guam, and American Samoa. That is number 2, resolution 2137. It's, resolution number 21-37.
Excuse me,
Yes,
Mr.
Senator
Chair.
Taitagui?
Mr. Chair, if I can get a copy of what you're reading off or those bills, has it been already written down somewhere that we can get a copy of the bills that have already cleared your committee?
Yes, they're on the website.
In Google Drive?
The Google Drive.
Okay,
Sorry,
and what part of the Google Drive is it located?
The bills, Senator Taitagui, the bills are on the website.
Oh, but,
Yeah.
okay, well, may I ask just for, simplicity and for us to follow along, to at least get a copy of all those that have cleared your committee so that we know what bills we will be addressing? So,
Oh, I'm sorry, Senator. It's in the Drive legislative items log.
okay. Can you
The
direct
log.
me exactly where?
The bill log. The bill log. Look at the last column. Turn around. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Senator Taitagui. Where was I? There's one more. Resolution number 3, or number 30-37, core, introduced by Vice Speaker Tina Rose Munoz Barnes, Senator Joe San Augustine, Senator Frank Blas Jr., Senator Amanda Shelton, Speaker Therese Terlahi, Senator Roy Anthony Benavente Canata, Senator William A. Parkinson, Senator Tello T. Taitagui, Senator Joanne Brown, Senator Jesse A. Lujan, which is relative to supporting the Republic of China, Taiwan's participation as observer at the World Health Organization's 76th World Health Assembly, and to reaffirm support for the Republic of China, Taiwan's participation as observer in international organizations. Nominations clear for session agenda consideration. The nomination of Carlo M. Leon Guerrero to serve as member of the Guam Community College Board of Trustees. Are there any motions to place these items on the session agenda?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Senator San Augustine?
the list you read, I don't know if anybody would object, but I just ask that we just adopt them all. Because if there's a real objection to any of the bills or resolutions, you just vote it down on the floor.
Yeah.
It's clear, let's put it on the floor and let's vote it down if you don't like it. Thank you. So my motion is to adopt everything you've read.
I object.
Senator Tydewee?
Yeah, I object. I think we should go through each one. It's been done in the past so that we can go through each bill. This way, we can find out if one particular bill, even though it met the committee deadline, but did they have those other requests during the public hearing? For instance, some of these bills still need the testimonies from agencies. Some of these bills, it was recommended that a round table, they feel that before the bill moves forward, that a round table should be done. You know, and taking these bills and putting them on the session agenda without the experts coming in and testifying who missed the public hearing, we're doing this in the blind. You know, none of us here are architects, engineers, or fire chiefs, or anything like that. So I think we really need to vet each one of them. And if there's an objection on one of them because it didn't meet or fulfill additional information for this body, then we should object until that happens. So I think we should go one by one, and that's my take.
Thank you, Senator Tydewee. Thank you, Senator San Augustine. I'm new at this, guys. I've had one other rules meeting, and in the one other rules meeting that we had, we did go item by item. And so I'd just like to note that, yeah.
Then I can introduce mine then, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I ask that Bill number 24-37 COR be added to the agenda. The Committee on the Rules, by request of Guåhan, the Governor of Guam, in accordance with the Organic Act of Guam, as amended by the Committee on General Government Operation and Appropriation, an act to amend Section 2 of Chapter 1 and Section 2 of Part 1, Chapter 3, and to add new sections 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 to Chapter 11, all of Public Law 36-107, General Appropriation Act of 2023, relative to appropriating $23,365,304 for the implementation of the Adjusted General Pay Plan. And just to advise my colleagues that it's inclusive of agencies that were not addressed as line agencies, which includes like UOG, the courts, I think DOE, GCC, and the others. But it's all in the committee report. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Tydewee?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for recognizing me. I do have a question, though, for the mover of this bill on the session agenda. It was brought to our attention, even in the past, when the Hayes study was put forward on any increase in salary, that the attachment to the legislation showed exactly who was getting these raises, how much they were getting. And when the bill came before us, it just came as one sheet of paper to, you know, increase these salaries based on the study. But there was no attachment, like Exhibit A. This is the increase that was done. So I noticed in here it says amended by the Committee on General Appropriations, and was wondering if that amendment incorporated that list of agencies that was requested, as done in the past when there was ever a salary increase or a Hayes study increase. Totally. So that's my question to the mover of this bill.
Senator San Augustine?
Mr. Chair, what we have is we have the 16 million that was identified for line agencies, but for the other agencies that we added on, we know exactly who those agencies are. But for the 16 million for the line agencies, which is the executive branch, give me 1 minute.
Yeah. Senator Duenas?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, while we wait, I have to agree with the preceding member. This is a substantial increase from the original proposal of 16 million. And now that all the other agencies has been added, and I believe during the public hearing, we also did request a detailed listing, going back to what the original member who has raised this question was saying, that in the past, the approved details of general plan play adjustments was position by position, and we received a detailed listing. You know, in the public hearing, Mr. Chairman, there was representations that individuals you know, in excess of hundreds of thousands of dollars in terms of the pay scale versus entry-level positions and those on the much lower ranks of the scale, identified, obviously, there's a huge disparity, and that's something for this body, I believe, that is going to be debated on this matter as it comes before. But without this information, without the comprehensive study in front of us, and across the board, 22%, I really believe that it's incumbent upon this legislature to review that entire document in its totality to understand how this was arrived at. I know that many of us, at least a few of us in this core meeting right now, remember many, many public hearings on the prior studies. And that's what led to one of the issues, particularly with the Department of Education, where some teachers were saying they got mere pennies, and others were saying that they got, you know, there's a huge disparity, and I think that exists here. So I'm going to support the mover that prior to you know, hitting the floor, we have that full adjustment pay plan so that we can review the entirety of it.
Senator Brown, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Also, because of the increased amount, I mean, do we have a revised fiscal note? Because I think we need to recognize this amount that's publicly being put out there really is only half the fiscal year. And we're talking about multiplying that times 2 over, what are we adding to the additional budget and costs of the government operations? I mean, the representation from the administration was simply, oh, we're doing good and we have the money. That doesn't give me a lot of comfort level in terms of the real amount that we're actually talking about on an annual basis. It's not the 16 million now, it's not the 20+ million, it's, you know, multiply that by 2 on an annual basis. On top of the fact that we don't have the details. This is otherwise going to sound to me like a political bill of simply raising salaries without addressing some of the points certainly Senator Dueñas and Senator Tello have brought to light. So I don't think we're at the point to put this bill on the floor until we get that information.
Excuse me, Senator?
Senator San Nicolas, you're recognized. Good morning.
Morning. Falling asleep down on this end. I just wanted to figure out, you know, as customs, you know, I want to know also if customs is in this.
I don't believe they are.
Oh, okay. Because I wouldn't give them 22% unless they better customer service. I just wanted to say that.
Senator St. Augustine?
I was just trying to ask, I'd like to clarify his question. He asked if customs under the law enforcement group.
Right.
The 22% is for the folks that are like administrative. And I understand the call by my colleagues to ask for more breakdown, and that we're going to request.
Yeah.
But I'd just like to at least find some assurance that once we get it and we get it to you on the committee report, is that we at least put it on the floor and then we can address it on the floor when we go to committee of the whole. And then you'd have that in your hands already. I just don't want to delay this any further. I mean, there's no need to delay this. And on the question of that, it'll be times 2 because it's for 6 months right now. It is in the executive budget, and it is being provided by the agencies and identified in their budget that they're submitting to us. So for 2024, it's being identified.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Senator Tydegui, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. I don't think there's any of us on this table who don't want to see an increase to salaries, especially in a time where, you know, inflation and cost of living, everything has gone up. There's no doubt about it. But none of us want to see that we put in these salaries, and then next thing you know, 2 years down the line, we're starting to furlough because we can't afford that increase. And now those people who got that increase will lose a job because the government doesn't have enough money to pay for it. So it's so important that we are very fiscally responsible and that whatever we put on the table today will sustain this government. So there's no doubt about it. But we've also agreed that in the 37th Guam legislature, we are moving forward that every bill that goes on to the session agenda is clearly vetted and clearly has everything in place, the time frame, the committee reports, the testimonies, most especially the fiscal notes. And when you're increasing, like Senator Duenas said, from 16 to 23, there's no, is there an additional physical note that should be, but
Ma'am,
lastly, Mr.
can
Chair.
I just interject? I'm sorry, but
Sure,
we're going to
sure.
send a request to BBMR today for a revised fiscal note.
Okay, thank you so much. So definitely need that. But today we're sitting here to place bills on the agenda. We're not going to go backwards and saying potential. We did that in the past, a potential bill, or as soon as we get that information. What happens if we get the information on the day of session? You know, it doesn't give us enough time to look through it. And believe me, it's going to be a huge spreadsheet for us to go through and look at. So today is the day we decide what goes on session.
Yes, ma'am.
And if this report is not, or this bill is not fulfilled in all the obligations, then I still stand in my objection.
Senator San Augustine.
Simple question. What is the request of this body? You want the report to identify by name? Be careful what you ask for. Be careful what
By
you ask for.
position.
Yeah.
By
If-
position.
Yeah, it's a list by position, and it's also done in previous legislations where we've increased salary through the Haiti.
I mean, I'm
That
sorry,
was
but did you
attached.
guys read the literature that was sent over by Director of Administration, Mr. Byrne? He had listed all of the 200-some positions that are included in the general pay plan.
Mr. Chair,
It was in a letter.
the point is that any legislation that goes forward has to have an attachment. This bill did not attach the itemized statement or anything onto the bill, what we are voting on. So I think that's the first thing. So if there's an amendment that needs to be done to this legislation, so be it.
Mr. Chair.
Senator San Augustine.
There is an attachment that discusses the Competitive Wage Act. I think it's pretty much look fun at the document and then tell me na that tinahong. Ang tinahong pestaspian penu da tananahong da tanafakpo. That's all I'm going to get at. Number one, the documents are attached. Read it, weep it. Let's move on it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator San Augustine. Senator Fisher.
Yes, thank
Wait,
you,
can he even do a point of inquiry? Just kidding. Go ahead, Senator Fisher. It's giving you a hard time.
So the point of inquiry is to, I guess through you, Mr. Chair. Is this a proper amendment? The increase, is it an amendment, I guess is the better question. We went from 16 million, we added 7 million, and we've added parties. I guess autonomous agencies that were not prior included. And I was wondering if you could ask your legal counsel whether, or our legal counsel, whether she believes this is an appropriate or allowable amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Fisher. Senator San Augustine.
Just one more note, as I got from my staff. We got all the reports that we requested during the committee hearing. I think my colleagues spend a little bit more time because it's 200 pages. It's not something you can read in 48 hours. Sit down, take a look at it, look at the competitive wage. Just look at the documents you need. But it's still 5 days until the next, our session or whenever the session is, but I'm asking to put this on the floor. Thank you.
Senator Duenas?
So a clarification on that point. I was talking about the substituted bill, which is now increased by $7 million. Mr. Chairman, I can't think of any other time when we've made that substantial of an increase or that substantial of a change in a bill without having another hearing or contemplating that in the context of the fiscal impact with simply a contemplation of a substantial change to a bill, and we're supposed to just vet that it's on the floor and accept it today. I think that's why I'm going to sustain the objection that this is not vetted at this point with that substantial increase. This is going to require the legislature for appropriation. These agencies don't have this money in their budget. That's what happened last time in the last legislature. There was creative mechanisms that were put in place. That doesn't exist now. Now we're talking about the general fund. So I sustain the objection from Senator Tello.
Thank you, Senator Duenas.
I rise to a point of inquiry again.
Senator Fisher?
Thank you very much. I had earlier raised a question, an inquiry, as to whether or not this is a proper amendment, and I have received no answer yet.
Yeah. Senator, Speaker Terlahi, you're recognized. Thank you, Senator Duenas. Then Senator Fisher. Oh, no, you're not. You're not. You're unrecognized. Senator San Augustine.
I think the question of inquiry was, is it appropriate amendment?
Yes, I conferred with legal counsel, and what I got was yes, it is a logical outgrowth of the bill. Additionally, where a proposed bill is modified in light of public comment, the modified bill may be promulgated as a final rule without additional notice and opportunity for comment, so long as the final rule is a logical outgrowth of the proposed rule. Then there's some case law they cite. So, Senator San Augustine, you're recognized.
Just finish his point.
Okay, Senator Fisher, yes, sir.
I guess this would be a point of procedure. Who makes the determination on whether or not it is a logical outgrowth? I would assume it would be yours as chair, but I don't know that.
Well, so this is the first time this has happened for me, so what I did was I conferred with legal counsel, and legal counsel provided me with the opinion that it was a logical outgrowth.
All right, so the committee believes through you that this is okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Fisher. Senator San Augustine?
Also, Mr. Chair, during the hearing, one of my colleagues asked that we should go through like the budget process. So we made the amendment so it refers to the Budget Act. And one of my colleagues had asked earlier, does it include also judiciary? Yes. Judiciary was present at the hearing, and they identified that it would cost about $1 million. UG, who wasn't there, we identified by calling them and said, hey, you're not included. That's 1.1. GCC, 400K. GMA's, 4 million. Mayor's Council, 745K. If you look at the bill and the substitute of the bill, you see that it makes the appropriate amendments to the Budget Act to reflect the increase and moved on. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator San Augustine. Senator Duenas.
Correct, Mr. Chairman, and I am pleased that we no longer have the one-liner appropriation, first of all, because the 16 million wouldn't even come close to covering that. So, Mr. Chairman, I will mention to you, probably to further support my objection, we are now back into the budgetary process. This now is a matter of a supplemental budget. Mr. Chairman, as our good speaker had mentioned, even on a referral of a bill to her committee, there are several appropriations now pending. The LEAP, the return of $30 million to Department of Education that was taken under ARP. And so now that we are in the budgetary process and we've seen a $7 million increase in this proposal, that requires much more than one public hearing and a committee of the whole for this bill in light of the fact that we are now revisiting basically the entire revenue and expenditures portion of the Budget Act.
Thank you, Senator Duenas. Senator Joanne Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also, as a result of this, we also had DOE coming forth, essentially relaying that there's going to be additional cost of us now to address an additional $22 million with regards to their power bill that has been paid for under federal funding up until this point. And that doesn't include, and I think it's important to note, we do not know how much federal funds have been used to subsidize the operations of the government that we are unaware of, that as that money continues to dissipate and dry up and disappear, we don't know what obligations this government has been placed under by the administration because that information has never been provided to this body or to the people of Guam. So I think we have some serious issues to look at. This is not a bill that we can look at in isolation of the rest of the obligations that are going to come up as we address the new budget. This is rather substantive, and it's one that will be an obligation of the people every year into the future. So I think we need to be very responsible. This is not just simply, oh, the governor asked and we're here to kowtow or bow down. and simply, move legislation without having this information, without making responsible financial decisions, because in spite of their representations, we will not be able to continue the revenue streams that we have had, particularly as a result of this pandemic. And again, because we don't know, and that's why I've not voted on the last two budgets of these previous term of the legislature, is because we don't know how these federal funds has been spent within these government agencies. We don't know how many other people have been hired and subsidized. We don't know how many other resources or services have been paid for that there's going to be an expectation now that the general fund and the people of Guam are going to have to absorb. So I think we need to move forward and be responsible, particularly because it's such a substantive increase to what is only a 6-month appropriation to begin with. And then on top of that, we're adding another $7 million as if that's absolutely nothing. There are many other critical services in this government that need to be addressed. Our schools, we all recognize that. And I think we need to look at the bigger picture and ensure how we can address those critical needs for our community and hopefully still address increases. But at the same time, I'd like to look at whether or not there are positions that we're looking at funding that are more critical, particularly those that are in the lower side of the income bracket versus those that are in the higher side of the income bracket that can be making another $20,000 to $30,000 annually. And then the lower ranking employees are making maybe a few $100s. That to me is not equity. And the fact that we're sort of being here doing our own pay study with a simple one hearing and then put it on the floor and take action to me is really not a careful and fair review of ensuring public money is properly spent. So I support the objections of my other colleagues with regards to this bill at this point.
Thank you, Senator Brown. Is there anyone else? Do I hear a motion to place bill number 24-37 core as amended by the Committee on General Governmental Operations and Appropriations on the session agenda?
Yes, I make that motion.
Okay. Objections? Okay, so let's see a vote.
Call for the vote. Oh.
All those in favor show raise a hand. Motion fails. Wow. On to the next. Senator Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to place bill number 46-37 as amended. The title is, it's an act to add new section 5425.2 to Part A of Article 9, Chapter 5, Title 5, Guam Code annotated relative to providing temporary expedited procurement protest procedures for acquisitions funded with the American Rescue Plan Act, Education Stabilization Funds, or Head Start grant allotted to the Guam Department of Education, sponsored by myself and Senator Chris Barnett.
Any objections? Motion carries. Senator Perez? Oh, you're done? Next item, bill number 37-37, introduced by Senator Parkinson, Senator Benavente-Canatas, Vice Speaker. Yes, Senator Tidegui.
Mr. Chair, if I may, just for the record, that I received a call from Senator Parkinson. He has an emergency at the hospital, so he's unable to make it. So just to let the body know, and I'm putting that for the record.
Okay. Well, we hope everything's okay. Yeah. Bill number 37-37. Do I hear a motion to place it on the session?
Motion.
Yes. 37-37. This is introduced by Senator Parkinson, Senator Kanata, Vice Speaker Barnes, Senator San Augustine, Senator Blas, Senator Duenas. Yeah, it's everybody.
Yes,
we're
but
just
I
naming
don't...
the public law 36-130, the Senator Jose Pito Terlahi Retirement Act.
Right, and Mr. Chair, if I may, has it already been on the website and cleared by committee, right?
Yes,
because
ma'am.
I don't see it on your...
All of the items here have been...
Your legislative item log does not indicate it. It just puts a date. That's it. Yep.
That means it's cleared, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Whenever it has a date, it means it's cleared on that date. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
No objections, and
No
I second
objections?
the motion.
Motion carries. Bill number 46-37, core is amended by the Committee on Environment, Revenue. Oh, that's you, Senator Perez. Yes. Oh, you already cleared? Okay. Oh, the resolutions. Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay, I got you. Resolution number 21-37, core. And resolution number 14-37, introduced by, yes, sir. Are there any motions to do anything with bill number 27? Where are we? Okay, we found that one. No, 37. Oh, we're on 46. That's cleared already? Okay, so we're on resolutions. Retirement bill. Can we just take like a 2-minute recess real quick? Sorry, I have to go to the bathroom. Sorry, okay,
TMO, Mr. Chair.
sorry,
TMO.
sorry, I just want to be transparent, guys.
TMO.
Okay, second. Recess. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Let's go. On what? Go. We're in.
We're back. Senator Roy Kanata, you are recognized. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair. I would like to make a motion on behalf of Vice Speaker Tina Rose Munoz-Barnes. So my first motion on behalf of Vice Speaker Tina Rose Munoz-Barnes from the Committee on Human Resources, Hagåtña Revitalization, Regional Affairs, Public Libraries, Telecommunications, Technology, and Federal Foreign Affairs. Bill number 27-37 Core, as amended by Tina Rose Munoz-Barnes, an act to add new subsection to Section 8501, Article 5, Chapter 8, Title 4, Guam Code Annotated, and to amend 8503C of Article 5, Chapter 8, Title 4, Guam Code Annotated, relative to the retirement of public safety and law enforcement officers who are members of Defined Benefit 1.75 retirement system. That's my first motion.
Second.
Second, no objections?
Second motion, on behalf of Vice Speaker Tina Rose Munoz-Barnes, again, resolution number 21-37 Core, Tina Rose Munoz-Barnes, relative to expressing the support of H.R. 256, introduced in the United States House of Representatives, which seeks the extent coverage of the Supplemental Security Income SSI program to qualified individuals who reside in Puerto Rico, the United States, Virgin Islands, Guam, America, Samoa.
Any objections?
None.
None? Motion carries. Senator Kanata?
Third motion, again, from Vice Speaker Tina Rose Munoz-Barnes, Resolution 30-37 Core, Tina Rose Munoz-Barnes, Joe S. San Augustine, Frank Blas Jr., Amanda L. Shelton, Therese M. Terlahi, Roy A. B. Kanata, William A. Parkinson, Telo T. Taidagui, Joanne Brown, Jesse Lujan, relative to supporting the Republic of China, Taiwan's participation as an observance of the World Health Organization 76th World Health Assembly, and to reaffirm the support for the Republic of China, Taiwan's participation as an observer in the international organization.
Any objections? Okay, right on. Senator Kanata?
Fourth motion on behalf of Senator Will Parkinson from the Committee on Fire, Agriculture, Power, and Energy Utilities, Public Transit, Unemployment Insurance, and the Universal Health Insurance. Bill number 37-37, as introduced, William A. Parkinson, Roy A. B. Kanata, Tina Rose Munoz-Barnes, Joe S. San Augustine, Frank Blossom Jr., Christopher M. Duenas, Therese M. Terlahi, Sabina Flores, Harris, Telo Taidagui, Dwayne T. D. St. Nicholas, Chris Barnett, Jesse A. Lujan, Joanne Brown, an act to name the public law 36-130, the Senator Jose Pito Terlahi Retirement Act. Oh, shoot.
Esteban.
Good, okay.
Senator Kanata?
Yeah. Fifth motion, on behalf of Senator Will Parkinson, Resolution 14-37, relative introduced by William A. Parkinson, relative to requesting a Magahagan Guåhan to exercise her authority of public law 110-229 to exercise the authority of public law public law 110-229 to petition the United States Department of Homeland Security to expand the Guam visa waiver program to include the country of the Philippines.
Any objections? No. Motion passes. Senator Kanata?
Sixth motion, on behalf of Legislative Secretary Senator Amanda Lee Shelton, Committee on Maritime Transportation, Air Transportation, Parks, Tourism, Higher Education, and the Advancement of Women, Youth, and Senior Citizens, the appointment of Carlo M. Leongoro, member, Guam Community College Board of Trustees, to serve 5 years effective November 11, 2022 to November 2027. Referred to the Committee on Maritime and Air Transportation, Parks, Tourism, Higher Education, and the Advancement of Women, Youth, and Senior Citizens on February 21, 2023. Committee report for Carlo M. Leongoro was submitted to CORE on Friday, March 10, 2023, and was cleared by the Committee on Rules on Monday, March 13, 2023. The committee report was also posted on the website on Monday, March 13, 2023.
Any objections? No objections? Motion carries. That is all? All right. Okay, so I think we're good. Oh, motion to adopt the session agenda?
So moved.
Any other motions? No? Good?
So moved, Mr. Chair, to motion to adopt the session agenda.
Any objections?
just a minute, yeah.
Yes,
I'd
ma'am.
like to add,
Speaker Terlahi, you're recognized.
yeah, I'd like to add a motion to put onto the session agenda that the clerk will be allowed to put on any vetoes that we received after this message and before the session or during the session, that those continue to be added to our motions as veto messages.
And no objections, the motion carries.
I'd also like, oh, okay, that's it.
That's it.
That's it for today.
Senator Perez?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to adopt the session agenda as amended.
As amended, any objections? Thank you, motion carries. I'm opening the floor for any further discussion if there is any. Nope, okay. Thank you, that's it, we're
Motion
good?
to adjourn.
Okay, any objections? All right, motion carries. The Committee on Rules hereby adjourns this meeting at 10:55 Chamorro Standard Time. Thank you for your attendance and participation at today's meeting. Hasta adios.